Hi everyone, Jennifer here. I'm not going to talk about a Bollywood movie today. I'm going to talk about a musical though, Newsies. I did get Disney Plus because I got Disney Plus. And one of the things on Disney Plus is Newsies. And I decided to watch, they have both versions, the movie version and the Broadway musical version. I watched the Broadway musical version because that's just how I roll. It's really good. If you have not seen this show or this movie, you need to because it's amazing. It's everything you want in a musical. The dancing, let's just say the dancing. This is not like a mild performance. The dancing is acrobatic. The songs are really great. It is a fun musical. The reason I wanted to talk about it, though, has to do with humanistic business management. So the plot is 1899. You have orphans and runaways selling newspapers for people like the Hearst Company and Pulitzer Company, who were the newspaper sellers at the time. And this is a real story. It's like 1899. So turn of the century. And newspaper sales were going down, so the newspaper owners decided to charge the Newsies more for the newspapers that they were selling. So think of the newspaper sellers, all these boys, as independent contractors. This is the gig economy. And so the newspapers didn't see the people reading the paper as their customers. They saw the people buying their papers to resell them, the Newsies, the boys, as their customers, and they raised prices on the boys. And the boys, you know, they're orphans, they're homeless, they can't afford this increase. And so they went on strike. And this is the story of the musical, and you would think this is a really odd thing to do a musical about. Let's do a musical about contract workers and they're creating a union and a strike. But when you think about it, it's actually really timely for the economy that the world has right now. There's so many people in gig economies that are viewed, even though they should be viewed as partners by their parent companies in creating their content, and getting it distributed and marketed, they're often viewed as the end customer. And they're not the end customer, they're the marketing arm to the end customer. But this is what happens sometimes in a gig economy with marketing and sales. So, the reason this ties into humanism and humanistic management is because the way that the strike resolves. They strike a deal where they actually reduce the cost and they agree to buy back. Like if a newsie doesn't sell all their newspapers, the newspaper agrees to buy back those papers and not so that the newspaper seller can take a risk and maybe sell more papers. And that was actually a really good thing. And it brings me to the idea of collaboration, that business is a collaboration. Like if you think of business as a zero-sum game, I win only if you lose. I think everybody loses that way, right? But the deal that was made, they said, look, you know, we need you to buy back these papers if we don't sell them. And the Pulitzer was like, well, then that's just gonna cost me a lot of money. He goes, no, we're not gonna lug around a bunch of papers we're not going to sell. But if we can take a risk and maybe sell more than we could otherwise afford to purchase, you're going to sell more overall because we're going to be willing to take a risk to sell more overall. And hello, collaboration yields better results for everyone as opposed to the fighting and not treating everyone in your supply chain as a valued part of your supply chain. This became, and the gig economy can become very exploitive. And exploitative capitalism is not good capitalism. Everybody suffers. Everything goes down. The unions are very useful to help make sure that employees, including gig employees, have the ability to have a seat at the table. And the employers really should allow their workers to have a seat at the table so that problems can be solved collaboratively without the need for fighting, because the collaborative problem solving usually ends up being a much better solution for everybody. And Pulitzer could have avoided all of this had he sat down and treated the Newsies as valued partners instead of people to be exploited. And this is a mindset I think we really need to be cognizant of nowadays, and why I think humanistic management is definitely the way forward. But do see it if you get a chance. It's awesome.